Detective Pikachu. When I first heard about a live-action Detective Pikachu movie, I was more than skeptical. I thought it flat out wouldn't work. How do you take an obscure spin-off of a beloved video game series and evolve it into a live-action movie? Well, it turns out that it's quite simple. Now, I don't mean to say there was no effort put into Detective Pikachu. On the contrary, anybody can see this movie is oozing with care and love just by watching the trailers. What I mean by simple is all you truly need is a vibrant world, a charming cast, and a cute Pikachu. Oh, and it helps to have a multi-billion-dollar franchise name in the title. Just saying. So now that I've finally seen Detective Pikachu in its full fan service glory, I want to give you some of my thoughts. I'm going to go off book on this one, so excuse me if I'm not as poetic as usual. Not that I was ever poetic, but you know what I mean. I'll be giving spoiler-free and spoiler-filled thoughts, so I'll be sure to let you know when I'm about to start going into spoilers. As many of you know, Detective Pikachu is loosely based off the video game spin-off of the same name. A smaller percentage of you have actually played the game. Not that it matters, you don't need to play the game to enjoy the movie. However, there's a reason why not many people have played it. It's more basic than a ham and cheese sandwich on white bread.
Hey, you guys like Phoenix Wright? Well, this is Ace Attorney for 10-year-olds. Jumpstart Professor Layton, baby's first detective game.
The game is not terrible, and Pikachu talking is the best part of the experience, but it's still very childlike. I was worried they would just make a carbon copy of the video game for the big screen, until I saw the trailer. So when the first trailer dropped, you could basically tell they were going for the same sort of plot that was in the video game, but take it in their own direction, of course. And that makes sense. I mean, you already have source material to work off of, no need to totally rewrite a story. But I do like the fact that it looked like they were going to take it in their own direction. Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu took me for a loop. I was like, whoa, hold up now. What is Deadpool doing in a Pokemon movie? Oh, it's so original, everyone jokes like that. I mean, the man is literally Deadpool. That's like all he does. You can't take that voice away from Deadpool. It's just, that's what it is. So it scared me a little bit, but it grew on me as the trailers kept releasing and I heard more of him. He's a fun personality, fun guy. At least that's the persona he gives off. The Pokemon, when I first saw them, were somewhat horrifying, not gonna lie. Jigglypuff, Aipom. There was another one I didn't like. They just all kind of looked horrifying. Even Pikachu to a certain extent. I didn't know how to process it. It wasn't what I was expecting. But they grew on me as well. The same with Ryan Reynolds' voice, the designs grew on me. Especially Pikachu. Like, he's so cute and fluffy. I didn't think he'd be that fluffy. I thought he'd just kind of be short-haired. Just, not rough, but not fluffy like that. And honestly, I really like it. But okay, wait. This is trailer thoughts. You could definitely feel the genuine care and love and the wittiness throughout the trailer. Like, this wasn't some baby game. And I'm not saying like baby games are bad or anything like that. It's just, you're kind of worried that they were going to talk down to their audience.
It's like, oh, you don't know what real life is like. Here, let me paint a friendship thing.
Like, whatever. I was worried that they were going to take that route, but after seeing the trailers, I was optimistic that wasn't the case. So the trailers did their job. I was super hyped for the movie. And I still was going throughout that, especially when people started saying, man, the movie was great. It's like, how did you all see it already? How is that possible?
Oh, pre-screening, I got to see it, and man, it's the best video game movie ever.
Which is not necessarily a high bar to hit, but where did these people see the movie? How did they get pre-screenings? How?
Well, you know, they're popular YouTubers. Of course they're gonna get a pre-screening. Mr. I only have 2,000 subscribers.
Hey, I don't even have 2,000. So yeah, you're probably right. I wanted to see it too. I wanted to see it like a week before. Would have been great. Oh well. But I did see it. I saw it yesterday, May 10th. Not that matters. It was just odd how many pre-screenings there were. Maybe that's common practice to have that many pre-screenings. And just because it was a video game movie, I just heard a lot about the pre-screenings from the YouTubers I follow. So, you know, that's probably what's going on there. But on to the actual movie. Pikachu is as amazing as the trailers make him out to be. Ryan Reynolds just nails the part. He just nails it. He oozes charisma. And Pikachu is just as adorable as you think he's just as adorable as you want him to be. I'm pretty sure they got the same voice actors from Japan to do some of the Pikachu's lines, some of the moments, and that was adorable. Like, I could honestly, no offense to Ryan Reynolds, who did an amazing job, but I could just have the original voice of Pikachu just do the whole movie, and I'm totally fine. Maybe some subtitles here and there, but hey, you know, it totally worked out. They did a great job of Pikachu design and his facial expressions and his attitude, and obviously, like I said, that has to do with Ryan Reynolds, who just nailed it. Something that I noticed though is that his voice almost sounded differently. Like in the trailer, they made him sound like Deadpool. Like a lot of the lines they chose, or maybe they edited it in a way that it was really close to how Deadpool sounds. But then when you go to the movie, it almost sounds like a different character. That's really weird. I mean, it still sounds like Ryan Reynolds. No, don't get me wrong, but like Ryan Reynolds was channeling a different person, which is good acting, obviously. But even the inflections and the tone of voice sounded different. Granted, I'm not the biggest Deadpool aficionado, so maybe what I was hearing was actually Deadpool all along. I think Ryan Reynolds really took Detective Pikachu on his own and made it its own character, and it worked out. It really worked out, especially with his chemistry with Justice Smith, who played Tim. And he did a very good job as well. Very surprisingly emotional. Like, he wasn't just kind of this blank piece of paper that had no emotion. He had a lot of things going on with him, you know, a backstory that, granted, is done time and time again, but you felt the pain, you felt the conflicting emotions he was going through. I think he portrayed it very well, and how he interacted with Detective Pikachu, which, you know, no one else can understand the Pikachu talking. He handled it very well. It was very comedic, but very emotional at the same time. Great chemistry with those two. Gosh, honestly, I was so impressed. I could watch another movie with those two, just going back and forth. I guess a part of that has to do with how witty the writing was as well. Just the impactfulness of the lines, and also just the timing. Because sometimes comedic timing is everything. If you don't say something at the right time, jokes are gonna fall flat. And when you have Ryan Reynolds who's as funny as he is, you're gonna get good comedic timing. It's just, there's no denying it. But what I also love about it is they didn't treat kids as idiots who only enjoy fart jokes. Movies nowadays will have you believe, yes, that is the majority of kids. All they care is about toilet humor. And honestly, I think more adults laugh at toilet humor than kids do. Just saying. I have like aunts and uncles who just like, they say poopy, and then they just like die laughing. It's like, oh my gosh, what happened to your brain cells? Now I'm really starting to sound like a prick. Anyway, this movie didn't say, hey, these are kids, let's just throw in a bunch of dumb humor, it'll be great. No, they said, look, kids and adults are gonna watch this movie, so let's make it enjoyable for both, you know, and not try to make it all, no, it's a sunshine and rainbows, a happy family. It was good, and there was adult humor too, that it would probably go over the kids' heads, and I like that. Like, kind of SpongeBob was like that too. You know, I mean, maybe not as much as people say. I think some of that's accidental, but there are moments where, you know, a kid may not get it, but adults will find it hilarious. And that's what I like about Detective Pikachu. Adults and kids can enjoy it. Going on to world setting, world building, Rhyme City was surprisingly well done. When I first played Detective Pikachu, like the video game, I was really impressed with how Pokemon and people interacted in the world. It was very well done. But the city itself was just your basic Japanese town off in the suburbs. Not that great. I think the Hollywood version of Rhyme City was fantastic. It helps that you have a budget where you can have a lot more people populating the city, and to an extent Pokemon as well. It made it feel much more alive, much more like a big city, and that these people were interacting. And, you know, and it wasn't something stupid like, oh, here's a little subway for the Pokemon to ride, or this is the Pokemon only walking lane. Like, it wasn't, you know, maybe they had those, I just didn't notice them, but yeah, I mean, I guess they had Machamp directing traffic, but I mean, you know, even in the games, Pokemon are helping out with jobs and stuff like that, so I'm fine with that. You know, I think they did a good job not making it go over the top like, this is how much we've changed to adapt to Pokemon. It's more like, it's more believable because it's our world, just that here's the Pokemons, our partners are with us. Again, I really like that. Rhyme City's charm just comes down to the Pokemon, so let's talk about their designs and what Pokemon were shown. Well, I guess I won't go to details on that. The designs are just well done. Jigglypuff, not as horrifying as I thought she'd be. Aipom, even though I don't have a huge affinity for monkey Pokemon and monkeys in general, I mean, the Aipom were fine. They were okay. They're horrifying at one point, but, you know, after that point passes, they're kind of cute. And, oh gosh, there's just so many cute Pokemon in this. Oh my gosh, and they do such a good job. It's phenomenal. You know that they got people who knew the games. I mean, obviously they got the Pokemon Company working with them, but, you know, the designers, like, it had to be people who grew up playing the games. Like, there's no question about it. This movie was like, no, it's not just Gen 1. It's all for 25 years of Pokemon. Well, I think it's more than 25 years. It's a whole it's many generations of them. And this movie is almost a love letter to all of them, you know, with paying homage to its mascot, Pikachu. So, amazing job with the Pokemon, except for Snubbull, because I will always hate Snubbull from the bottom of my heart. I mean, you know, it's kind of cute, you know, if you like pug faces, sure, it's a cute Snubbull, but at the same time, I despise Snubbull. The burning passion. It is my least favorite Pokemon, and will forever will be. It's rotten hell. Okay, well then, moving on. They never explain what Pokemon are, you know, evolutionary speaking, or how they came to our world. Like almost every single fantasy real world movie. Like, oh, Pokemon, this is how the Pokemon came to be, or they came from a portal like out of the sky one day, or, you know, like Tim walks down the street and the Pikachu falls from the sky, hits him in the head, and now Pokemon are everywhere. No. These Pokemon have been forever, maybe even since time began. Pokemon have been with humans, and it's okay. I won't go to spoilers, but they don't go out of their way to explain every detail and make it seem like it's the world we currently live in, except Pokemon have come out of nowhere. It's set in the world that was made by the video games, and I love that. I love it. If there are more Pokemon games, please don't try to explain your world unless it's like key to the plot. You know, like you meet Arceus or some other Pokemon god. Like, let's not delve into narration and the Pokemon are like this and they have these weird genetic features that blah blah blah. Like, no, don't do that. Stop that. I think I'm going on too long, so let's move on. Catherine Newton as Lucy was not bad. You know, the typical reporter intern who wants their big shot. It's kind of a plot device. She didn't stand out too much, and again, there's nothing wrong with plot devices per se. It's just her character just didn't stand out too much. She was just kind of there to get them to certain places. You know, it's not bad. It's not terrible, and maybe that's a good thing because the focus was meant to be on Tim and Pikachu, right? So good job on that, I guess. But her Psyduck was pretty great, not gonna lie. Psyduck had always been funny in the anime, but in this movie it just kind of takes it up a notch. I like it. There's also a good amount of fan service, speaking of anime, for Pokemon fans to take. Some subtle hints, not so subtle hints, but unlike other Hollywood adaptations of beloved cultural icons, it never felt like pandering or out of place. Maybe that's my own bias coming out, but there are a few moments where I said to myself, you know, it makes sense they would have this, or that they can advertise this. Like, it just makes sense in their world. It's not pandering to, oh my gosh, I understood that reference, you know? And maybe there is a little bit of that, but to me, it made sense. So the overall plot, I guess we're gonna get into the bad stuff now. The overall plot was exactly as I feared. Basic. But then again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You could still have a good movie that with a basic plot It's just your cast of characters has to carry it. And by golly, Pikachu and Tim carry this plot, carry the movie forward. Same with the world. Like, if you have an interesting world and a good, a couple good main characters, I mean, you're in for an enjoyable movie. If the plot is terrific, then you have like a fantastic movie. You know what I mean? So you can have those two concepts and still have an enjoyable movie. The villain you could see coming from a mile away, and I think the end suffered a little bit because of it. In fact, there's a certain scene past the halfway point where the pacing spirals into turbo mode, leaving some of the audience in the dust. Not that it's mind-blowing, it's just poorly paced. It becomes incredibly fast and everything just like boom, 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 boom. And sometimes that works for a movie, but with kind of the pace they were going for, it just felt out of place and felt rushed. So, but then again, I mean, it wasn't particularly great to begin with, so maybe it just didn't matter. It's not winning any Oscars for story or scenario writing, but the main cast and the world are exceptional. And now it's time for spoilers! Skip to the time here if you want to hear my spoiler-free final thoughts. Are you done? Did you leave? No take-backs. Okay. Detective Pikachu is actually Tim's father. Oh, come on. That had to be obvious from the very beginning. Yeah, it's probably the most obvious twist of all twists in the history of twists. It's so obvious that they had to hide Ryan Reynolds' face the entire time whenever they had like the flashback for the father. It's like, oh, come on. Really? You're gonna be like this? It's obviously a white guy. Like, what other white guy is gonna be the father of Tim? Like, come on. I didn't want them to show the face. Like, it was still a nice reveal. And I guess that's not bad to have an obvious reveal either. It just, if you were surprised, it's like, well, I mean, just take a look. The clues were there. I guess let's just talk about how close it followed the video game. Surprisingly, the finale is somewhat similar. They had a parade, and it was had to do with the news network, or the cable company, whatever. So that was close, and obviously Mewtwo was a key part of that. The bad guy in the video game and in the movie, they are different. The one in the movie was just like, I want evolution for everyone. What does that mean? Everyone becomes a Pokemon. It's brilliant. There's no flaws to this idea whatsoever. Our society can completely function with everyone as a Pokemon. I'm a genius. Sometimes insane people don't think things through. It's odd. I don't understand why. Because they're insane. What? No. Come on. Insane people are people too. But the guy in the video games was, I think I'm going to cause all these disasters to happen, and then my news network will cover it. Yes. Which is actually maybe a little more believable. Anyway, there was parts they followed the video game, but the one thing that I'm surprised that they went with is they showed Detective Pikachu was Tim's father, Harry. But in the video game, they don't do that. They leave it on like a cliffhanger almost. Like, we're gonna go find Harry is basically how Pikachu and Tim walk away. Spoilers for the video game. I'm sorry. It's obvious that that Pikachu is Harry. It is Tim's father. So it made no sense to me in the video game why they took that time unless they were gonna have a sequel. But the fact that the movie just straight up was like, nah, Pikachu is Harry. That's our big reveal. I mean, in that sense, it felt like, oh wow, great. We finally know for sure, even though it was obvious. But at the same time, it's like, wait, but how that kind of ruins the video game? I mean, it was obvious. Okay, I'll just stop thinking about it now. So I guess the inconsistencies there, but wait, no, it's not a real adaptation. And again, it's a kid's game. Like, what does it really matter? It doesn't. So other spoiler things. The Torterra, that scene is where I feel like the movie just kind of took a nosedive a bit. It was fast-paced, and it was like, oh, are they gonna get through it? Oh no! But it just went on forever, like a long time. Why? Why is it still going? There's like a couple times where it like stops, and then it keeps going, oh, and then it stops. And then they keep going, oh! We get it! We get it, Torterra, they're giant. We get it now, okay? Just end this. Pikachu finally gets hurt. It's like, okay, now we can end this, right? And the funniest part is that they get up and they're like, huh, what? Someone wake us up? Whatever. And they go back to sleep. It's like it never happened. What was the point? Obviously, it was because Psyduck's confusion or his brain power. But what was the point of the giant Torterra other than show that he's working on evolution? The bad guy was? And even then, he didn't even care about them because he's like, I got Mewtwo, so what does it matter? I guess you could have multiple experiments going on at a time, but I don't know. It just felt like they needed some sort of action, heart-pumping moment in the movie, or at least they felt they needed one, and that was their best idea. And granted, like, having Torterra in there was pretty neat. I'm not gonna lie. It just went on for a long time. So that's probably my least favorite scene. I love all the Greninja stuff and showing the experimentation on Mewtwo, but then from that moment on, it just went down. And then, you know, the bad guy had his whole plan. Oh, now I'm inside Mewtwo's mind, and now I'm gonna make everyone Pokemons. What the freak? You're weird, dude. Yeah, and that just felt rushed, very rushed. But, you know, you gotta fit within your time frame, right? Well, maybe you should have taken some of that Torterra time and cut that in half and put it into something else. My favorite scene was probably where the Bulbasaur come in, and just from a pure just adorableness and seeing all the Pokemon work together, I kind of love that. How they brought Pikachu to Mewtwo. It was so beautiful, and the Bulbasaurs are so cute. Oh my gosh, I didn't know they could be that cute. So it's interesting where Rhyme City takes place, because there's a moment in the lab area where they mention the Kanto region. So that makes me think, whoa, this is actually in the Pokemon world, like the video game world. And they said that 20 years ago, Mewtwo was created or broke out of his creation place. So if anybody was confused, this is definitely not Team Rocket. Maybe there's some connection, but that was not made in the movie, other than saying that Mewtwo broke out of his confinement 20 years ago. So which makes you wonder, if Kanto is real, and 20 years ago Mewtwo broke out, does that mean Ash is real too? And it was 20 years ago, does that mean Ash is 30 now? Well, you know, and that brings up the video game again. And there's a point where Detective Pikachu meets another Pikachu and is just talking to them, and it's heavily implied that Pikachu is Ash's Pikachu. So there's some continuity there. I think they could, if they wanted to, try to bring in Ash and some of the other beloved characters. And, you know, maybe not even go to the anime. Maybe go the route of Red and Blue and all those guys and build upon their world, their journey, their adventure in those separate regions. Because technically they're canon, at least Kanto is, as well as how Mewtwo was created. So yeah, go for it. How well Detective Pikachu does, I think it's a sign that you can expand the Pokemon universe, cinematic universe. Pikachu and Tim, their relationship is some of the best son-father bonding I've ever seen in movie. Like there's been good ones, and there's been some like not so good, a little too sappy. But this was great, especially since they didn't know that Pikachu was the dad. That's kind of odd. Pikachu, you're the father. Pika Pika. Father and son bonding was great, and how they just kind of grew connected. And I love how Tim was kind of a failed Pokemon trainer in a sense. I mean, I guess not really failed, just he kind of grew detached to Pokemon and felt very lonely. And yeah, they poked fun at it, which, you know, you sometimes got to poke fun at yourself. But at the same time, he grew to overcome that, or understand that, you know, this is why I feel this way and I need help. And he kind of like vented or had closure with Pikachu in a sense. So that was great. That was good stuff. And I think that's all I wanted to talk about with spoilers. Well, I mean, I guess Mewtwo. Talking about Mewtwo real quick. Mewtwo is great. Like, I think the design as well. I mean, it's kind of weird seeing it had teeth. Yeah, that was a little weird, but at the same time, Toothless Mewtwo was kind of weird. Maybe just seeing a bunch of gums would be odd. Well, maybe it shouldn't open its mouth. I don't know. But I think they did a pretty good job throughout that. Its only issue was the whole mind melding thing from the bad guy. See, the bad guy's so bad, I don't even remember his name. That's how bad it was. Oh, Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime was funny. Like, I'm glad they put that scene in there because it was quite humorous. I don't think it's the best scene as everyone was saying. And maybe that's just my random comedy. It's not like I freaked out by mimes or anything. That's not true. Don't do that. It's not true. I'm not scared of mimes. No, it's more in the fact that it wasn't as hilarious as some people were making it out to be. Like, some people are like, Mr. Mime was the best part of the whole movie. Oh my gosh. It's like, if that's the best part of the whole movie, as I watched it, if that's the best part of the whole movie, this movie better be like Oscar 5-time winning. Better be freaking fantastic. And then granted, it was pretty fantastic, but I don't think Mr. Mime was the best part. So, all in all, great movie, good stuff. If you want to talk more spoilers, feel free to join our Discord and talk about it there. Or maybe I'll do another one if people feel really inclined to talk about more about it. Okay? Okay. Spoilers are done! Honestly, this was the best way to introduce the Pokemon world to the big screen. No origin story, no live action anime Netflix adaptation, no confusingly incoherent plot. Just a simple buddy cop movie set in a charming world full of Pokemon. And Deadpool Pikachu. With Detective Pikachu, Warner Brothers proves that yes, you can make a good video game movie. It's possible. Just gotta use a little effort. Detective Pikachu isn't breaking cinematography standards, aside from maybe video game standards, but man is it a trip for Pokemon fans. I think even non-fans can still find a lot of charm packed inside. So I recommend you see it once. You'll fall in love with Pikachu and the Pokemon without a doubt, although you might roll your eyes at the story. If you're already a Pokemon fan, go see it twice. I never do that for movies in theaters, but I was that enthralled with it that I need to see it again. Now if you excuse me, I gotta hang up my new Detective Pikachu poster. Woot! Thank you so much for watching. What did you think of Detective Pikachu? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure we'll have a podcast episode all about it, so check the link below for that. And don't forget to subscribe for more Nintendo goodness. Thank you patrons Chase, Rad MVP, My Echo, and Joseph for your support. Goodbye, you good people.